This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi. Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, well, Tuesday is primary day in America, and there's another doozy of a Democrat who is on the ballot. This one is Milot Quiros, and she is someone who's an interesting background, that's for sure. She's a former barista, sounds a lot like AOC, remember, who was a former bartender. She's a former barista. I guess that's coffee and things like that. She's pursuing her PhD. She's a former corporate attorney who there's reports that she got let go after she wrote an anti-Israel letter after October 7th. And she has not backed away from her very staunch Democratic Socialists of America policies. Now, remember, it was in Colorado that Mohammed Solomon, that was the guy who firebombed those people who were protesting at that Jewish event. It was horrific. It was June of last year. He even came out and said, this is why I did it, because I was looking for Jews. He is Muslim. It was just a horrible, anti-Semitic, vile, disgusting attack. And this woman, this Milot Quiros, still isn't sure if that was an anti-Semitic attack. And she also is trying to challenge Diana Leggett. Now, Diana Leggett, Democrat in Colorado, she's been for Abolish ICE. So it's not like, I guess that's still sort of a mainstream Democrat, if you will, as frightening as that is. But that is still a mainstream Democrat ideal. But she's been in Congress for 29 years. And now this Milot Quiros is hoping to beat her in the primary tomorrow night and make a run for Congress there full-fledged as the nominee. We'll find out what happens. We'll all be with us together because we'll find out hopefully around the same time. We always seem to learn in the Rita Cosby Show when these races come down. But listen to Milot Quiros, this woman, as she tries to justify 9/11 and claims that 9/11, that horrific attack where 3,000 Americans nearly died, as a result of the hijackers and the planes, that she says that it was essentially almost inevitable. Basically, America deserved it. Listen to this.
Do you believe that the 9/11 terrorist attacks on America were the inevitable consequence of American foreign policy?
Inevitable in the sense that we destabilized a lot of the Middle East. That forced people to believe that another act of violence was the only response. And again, just like I said before, our responsibility is to getting rid of those conditions that lead to violence in the first place.
That's the craziest answer. Inevitable based on the policies that created the moment. And then she was asked about October 7th. Listen to what she said about October 7th.
Is it a suggestion that Israel had it coming?
No, not at all. It's about understanding the conditions in which violence and war happens, right? Israel is a country that has been accused of apartheid and occupation for decades now and has been able to resist any kind of change despite all of the frustration on the world stage that people have had for the conditions that Palestinians have been living in. And I hope that as an ally that Israel claims to be, that they would be responsive to our demands to make sure that they change those conditions so that we can actually finally start to the work of peace building and delivering aid to the people in need.
Do you believe that the 9/11 terrorist attacks on America were the inevitable consequence of American foreign policy?
Inevitable in the sense that we destabilized a lot of the Middle East, that forced people to believe that another act of violence was the only response. And again, just like I said before, our responsibility is to getting rid of those conditions that lead to violence in the first place.
You recently campaigned with Hassan Piker. He's got a huge streaming audience. Do you agree with his statement that Hamas is a lesser evil than Israel?
No, I don't.
That's a doozy. That is a doozy. You see her trying to make excuses left and right. And she knows certainly who Hassan Piker is, and yet continues to campaign with him, and also continues to make excuses, saying it's this cycle of violence perpetuated by Israel. That's what created October 7th. It's America, the boogeyman, the bad ones in their mind, that created this moment, I guess, for them in their mind, tied to everything tied to 9/11. I mean, it's just disgusting, as opposed to saying, no, this is horrible, it shouldn't have happened. I mean, you can't get any more ridiculous. And I think just unpatriotic when I hear it. It sends chills down my spine. And then here she is. She's asked about Israel and weapons to Israel. She doesn't hold back on this one, too. Listen to this.
You've called Israel's actions in Gaza genocide. You've called for an arms embargo against Israel. Would that include the U.S. selling or financing defensive weapons that Israel uses to protect itself against rocket attacks from Hezbollah or Iran?
Yes. Yeah,
it would.
It would.
Why not differentiate between offensive weapons used to wage war against another population and then defensive weapons that are used to protect civilians from outside attack?
I believe that our selling of arms to Israel, defensive or offensive, gives them the cover to continue the genocide that's taking place in Palestine, and now the ethnic cleansing that's taking place in Lebanon. Again, this is a supermajority. This is a position of a supermajority of voters in this country. We want our taxpayer dollars to fund our resources and programs here in America, not to fund the genocide abroad.
Genocide abroad. Of course, she's referring to Israel. No mention of Hamas. I mean, this is just, it's so Democratic Socialist playbook, anti-Semitic, and just promoting hate. I mean, it really is shocking. We're seeing more and more of them. And then she was asked, get this, as I mentioned, she's a barista. I read you some of her credentials. It's not like she's qualified to run for Congress, nor was AOC, by the way, for that matter. Remember, she was a bartender, and she beat Joe Crowley, who was a bigwig in the Democratic policies and Democratic politics at that time. And she had a huge upset when she came in. Obviously, some of these others that we've heard of, it's not like Chevalier had a lot of experience, or some of these others either. But they have a good smile, I guess, and they have a big backing from the Democratic Socialists. So listen to Milot Kiros. Again, she's on the ballot tomorrow in Colorado. And she's asked, what is your background? How do you feel that you could even be qualified? Listen to this.
You were 1 year out of law school at a elite global law firm, is how they describe themselves, before you got fired for writing an essay that was critical of Israel. You came home to enroll in a PhD program. You've been working at a coffee shop. What life experiences and knowledge do you have to be effective in Congress?
Yeah. Well, the first I would describe as the life experience of just being a young renter in this city, being a tipped minimum wage worker, and Denver is the fifth least affordable city in the country right now. And so experiencing what it's like to stretch your paycheck and try to pay for rent, try to pay for health insurance, try to pay for your car note, all of those things, the proximity to that struggle, I think is something that's important to have when you're going to Congress to represent the people of the city.
When you talk about knowing financial struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, you're knowing financial struggle by choice.
Yeah.
You are a corporate attorney who's going to get a PhD.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that you're having trouble making ends meet when you step out of that world, but you kind of chose to step out of that world.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. But I did grow up with the same struggle, right? I immigrated here in '98 when I was a baby. My dad had nothing to his name when we first moved here. And so I watched him and my mom work 2 to 3 jobs at a time. I watched them try and figure out how to stretch those dollars for our rent, to stretch those dollars for me and the resources that I needed.
So she's a renter and an immigrant and works in a coffee shop, and that makes her qualified to be a member of Congress, so she says.